Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Kirk, who's really grown on me in the last year, went to the UK and has seen the downfall of the United Kingdom of America. The United Kingdom. I'm Tall, the traveling clad, your favorite white colonizer, who's not colonizing Europe at the moment, but the Arab Muslim supremacists are. And Charlie Kirk he's here to report on all of it. Go check out his channel, Charlie Kirk, and let's watch this clip.
It has been quite a week, 20 hours of travel to London, Oxford, Cambridge, and back. I know you're all very disappointed I wasn't arrested, but I tried. I tried my best. I went on one of their biggest news programs, GB News. Yeah, right, GB News. And I said that it's not compatible with Western values. And it went very viral, and it was so funny. The production team afterwards at GB News was like, wow, you said that. I'm like, wow, you guys are so British. You should spend some time in America. Our Overton window has moved a lot. The UK is very important to talk about, not just because what's happening in the UK, but also the ramifications here is the UK culturally felt like America before Donald Trump went down the golden escalator. They're in the abyss, but culturally, there is this kind of silent, are we allowed to say this? Are we allowed to challenge this? Are we allowed to talk about this? Are we allowed to question this? And Donald Trump will be in the history books for so many reasons. For isolating the Chinese Communist Party, for shining light on the southern border. But one thing I don't think he gets enough credit for. One thing that I think that gets forgotten in the story of Donald Trump, which, by the way, we are now coming up on a decade of Donald Trump. Next month will be 10 years since he went down the golden escalator. A decade. Complete domination of the Western mind for 10 years. And it's fitting that I went to Oxford and Cambridge and spent time in London before that 10-year mark because it feels so similar. Because once Donald Trump went down the golden escalator, he gave people permission to speak. He gave people permission to talk. President Trump said things like anchor babies. Remember President Donald Trump openly ran on a Muslim ban into the United States of America in December of 2015? He said rapists were coming over the border. You couldn't say that. They flipped out. He said that we're being invaded. He said that we're being replaced. And people were losing their mind. But the benefit of what Donald Trump did is he courageously moved that Overton window with force and courage. And people say he's nothing but just narcissistic, overly self-indulgent, but only someone who believes in himself as much as Donald Trump could have moved that Overton window because the criticisms didn't get to him. He says, no, I'm going to double down on the fact that they're bringing rapists in this country, and I'm tripling down. And he took the slings and the arrows for the rest of us, and he basically created cover fire for millions of people like myself and you to then be able to talk. Because if Donald Trump is saying it, and then the media is covering it, then other people get the courage to say the same thing. Then other people get the permission, culturally, to be able to ask the right questions. And then if he gets elected saying it, whoa. And then he goes into exile, and then he gets elected with a popular vote win and an electoral vote landslide. And we're in a place in this country where we can now say the things that otherwise people were terrified to say. We could dive deep into the correct issues. It was once verboten in America to even say that DEI and affirmative action might be choking productivity. It was verboten during Floydapalooza to say that we should not have disparate impact as the core legal theory. And Donald Trump changed all of that. And the UK feels as a country that deep down, they want that. Mm-hmm. They want someone to give them permission, and no one is. And only somebody as popular, as courageous, only somebody as morally clear as President Donald Trump would be able to do that. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He gets a lot of credit for his policy accomplishments. He gets a lot of credit for remaking the Republican Party. But in so many ways, he made America speak again. If you're a homeowner You need to listen to this. When's the last time you checked on your home title?
All right, Charlie.
That's the legal
All right,
proof that
Charlie.
you own your house. If you're like me, the answer at alock.com,
All right,
promo code Kirk.
All right, Charlie.
For 10 years, we have had more robust discussions about the downfall of America and its core reasons and its causes, and we take it for granted. I'm telling you, visiting that totalitarian that unfortunately the UK has become. And it's tragic. I don't say that with glib. I don't say that with delight. It is sad. Britain is why we exist. It's like going back to the life force, and it's chilling, and it's depressing. Let's play cut 318. This clip has been seen tens of millions of times. Play cut 318.
Have you heard of a lady called Lucy Connolly since you've been here?
Of course, I talked about her yesterday, and no one knew what I was talking about in Cambridge.
Who are you talking about? The students didn't know.
I mentioned her because I did the research. My team did an amazing job, and I think she just had her petition denied
in
today.
the last hour or so today, it's Tuesday today, she's had her appeal denied. So she's going to be carrying out her 2.5-year sentence for a solitary tweet,
so outrageous,
which she deleted 4 hours later. What's your take on the whole situation?
Well, I'm going to try to get the U.S. State Department involved. I don't know if what their bandwidth is here, but I'm sorry, again, I'm speaking as a citizen, not as U.S. government. I just want to be very clear. Is this a way that a liberal democracy and an ally of the United States acts? Just to be clear, what she said would not be any prison time in America. I don't like what she said, but she showed contrition. Well, there's 2 parts. The first part where she said, I don't want immigrants in my country. Perfectly acceptable. That's fine. You can say that. You're allowed to have that.
So that is a separate issue that I will talk about, where in the UK, 30 people a day are arrested for offensive social media posts in the UK.
It's insane.
30 people a day. This woman is going to serve 2.5 years in prison for an offensive social media post
That's insane.
that she deleted and apologized for. Yep. They invented free speech, sent it back to our country. There's so much wrong with that country, and it is not worthy of making fun of. I mean, you can have some laughs and some comedy, but it is depressing. It is dark. And I came back literally kissing the ground when I came back from London yesterday, because there's a lot of problems with America. But let me give you 2 things that I think we should be thankful for that we don't notice. Of course, freedom of speech, number 1. And then number 2, the spirit of America. When we have a problem, we believe we can solve it. There is this entrepreneurialism. There is this grit. There is this pioneer spirit. And in Britain, they are defeated at the soul.
Yep.
They're like, cheers, mate. Country's done. Let's go drink. What we have is unique.
Charlie is correct.
From the Lord.
Charlie is correct. And this is, I mean, I talk about this every time I talk about Europe. I really feel like we're looking at the downfall of this society, and they don't want to fight for it. They don't want to fight for what they're losing. He's right. They invented free speech. They invented a lot of the ideas built off of Judaism, but they invented this stuff. And then they propagated these ideas to places like America and other places in Europe. And now you're watching it collapse on its face, and there's nobody to fight for it. There's nobody here to take a stab at trying to argue against it. What are we supposed to do when we look as Americans or as other Westerners? What are we supposed to do when we're supposed to look at the UK and say, can we get inspired that there's going to be an ally here to fight? Or is there going to be an Islamic revolution here in a couple of years? I have 2 paths I think the UK could go down. One is the current trajectory, which non-jokingly will eventually be taken over by radical Islam. The other alternative is, and I think that this one is far less likely, that we actually get a Donald Trump character that props up in the UK as well. Could be a Tommy Robinson-like character or somebody in his sort of echelon. The problem is that person will gain much popularity with a lot of the British public, but I still think that overwhelmingly the liberal desire in the UK and in Europe will vote that person out. Because if a person were to come in and be a little bit more extreme, like Trump, which he can be a little bit extreme when he talks, it'll resonate with the right people to save the country. But the radical Muslims who have already moved there and the sort of white liberals that live there, and even if they're not from the UK originally, but they've moved because they live in the EU and they were easily able to relocate to the UK. Now they have voting rights. They would all overwhelmingly outvote this British Donald Trump character. I believe a Trump exists in the UK. I just don't believe the UK would be willing to bring him to power. I don't know. Tell me what you think down below in the description or in the comments. Subscribe to Charlie Kirk, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you a long time. Goodbye, class. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.